conflated support for the AKP's foreign policies with the idea that working for the network is a kind of patriotic duty. So, these authors found that Turkish journalists were routinely privileged over foreigners in recruitment processes. Thus, TRT World is used to construct populist forms of nationalism in ways that link media production, media content, and broader political discourse. Given PAC's apparent unwillingness to apply to renew the visas of foreign journalists at VOA, and the strong line taken against immigration by the Trump administration, we wondered whether similar kinds of patriotic discourses might have been used to politicize staffing at VOA. At any rate, we thought it was appropriate to broaden the concept of financial capture to resource capture, since constraints on the number and kinds of human resources, namely journalists, was such an important issue. In addition, Yeşil's work on the disciplinary capture of the Turkish media industry via partisan lawyers caught our attention, as it seemed to resonate with Trump's use of similar kinds of allies to pursue his interests. Specifically, Yeşil argues that the Turkish government responded to threats to its legitimacy, including the Gezi Park protests, by promoting journalistic self-censorship using proxy attorneys and captured judiciaries. These government allies selectively interpreted and applied existing legislation to create complex systems of incentives and disincentives, including steep fines and lengthy jail sentences. The introduction of a new law on disinformation in 2022 has exacerbated this situation, and the punishments that Turkish journalists face are much more serious than those faced by VOA staff during PAC's leadership of USAGM. But Yeşil's work alerted us to the possibility that these internal procedures might include the selective application of existing laws and regulations via proxy attorneys, thus constituting overlapping forms of regulatory and governance capture. What we have shown in this section, then, is how difficult it is to separate a discussion about the diplomatic effects of capturing international PSM from a discussion about domestic politics. Some international PSM, like NHK World Japan, rebroadcast content from their domestic parent organization. Citizens who travel or live abroad, and who usually have voting rights, may also consume international PSM in their primary language. But even if the citizens of funding countries never consume the media produced by international PSM, these networks can still play an important role in domestic politics. As we have shown here, governments may frame international PSM within broader forms of political discourse to reimagine nationhood for a domestic audience. In particular, we have demonstrated that discourse about international PSM is used to construct sanitized or romanticized versions of national history, as well as to evoke ideas about actual or potential national greatness on the global stage. Such political discourse may be particularly significant in an election year. Given this, some interesting comparisons can be drawn between these troubled democracies and authoritarian states, as both use largely foreign-facing media to build favorable diplomatic relations with other countries, but also to help construct their legitimacy domestically.